right, CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader Tom Mulcair is joining me now to discuss a number of things. I do want to get to the PM's address, but first of all, can we start there with Pierre Poilievre and that cleanup in aisle 4? He's continuing to face criticism for those controversial comments. Did he clarify things yesterday?
No, he's trying to change what he said. He clearly said that it was the RCMP leadership, never referenced Brenda Lucki, and he said the RCMP was covering up. So those are the two key takeaways. He's been trying to do the back crawl to get away from that thing ever since because, first of all, it hurts his credibility. In a democracy, Marcia, the number one thing is having an independent judiciary, having prosecutors who are unfettered in their work, and police who are honest. We have all those three things in Canada. That's why we're a successful democracy. To simply affirm, without evidence, that there was a cover-up and that there is a political bias within the leadership of the RCMP is beyond the pale. He's talking to his base. He's got a leadership review coming up. But what he's done is remind Canadians why he went from a 27% lead in the polls to defeat by the Liberals in an election less than 6 months ago. That Pierre Poilievre doesn't turn on voters. That Pierre Poilievre pushes them away. The average Canadian knows that Poilievre lost that election, and it wasn't a conspiracy. It was because of that sort of behavior.
All right, let's turn to the Prime Minister's address last night. What did you make of it?
Well, let's talk about the form. He seemed in very good spirits. He was in front of a university crowd, the type of crowd that he'd feel more comfortable with. A lot of smiling. The French, which has become an issue in Quebec, I just mentioned it in passing, people actually clocked the percentage of French in his speeches. It was at 17%. Carney tried to justify it, saying, well, not all of it was here. But last night, clearly, the message had gone through, a lot more French. And it was an important message. He was essentially saying, look, don't expect miracles. We're going to separate out the budget. There's going to be a spending on infrastructure and big projects. That's considered investment for the future. But the operational budget, the day-to-day of government, that's going to be a balanced budget within 3 years. Now, he's setting the bar high, and anybody who's ever done political communications will always say, try to underplay expectations. He's raising them, saying, no, I'm going to achieve this. And he's actually inviting people to judge him on results, not on commitments. To my thinking, that is a very oblique, very slight a shot at the Trudeau era where they would hold speeches, they would talk about stuff, and it would never happen. So Carney is saying, no, when I say we're going to do things, they're going to happen, they're going to get done. He also talks about the fact that we're in unprecedented times. He's working hard around the world, maybe a bit too hard in the sense that he's too often absent, because I do think that as Prime Minister of Canada, part of his key role is to be in the House of Commons a bit more often than what we've seen. But I think Canadians are going to be quite forgiving if he pulls off what everybody's hoping, that we have some sort of a trade deal with Trump when they get together in South Korea in just a few days.
Will he have the support of the opposition, Tom, to pass the upcoming budget?
I'll make a clear prediction. The Conservatives will, every single one of them, vote against the budget no matter what's in it. The Bloc Québécois is already signaling that they're feeling their oats. They're going to vote against it. The key players, therefore, become the 7 NDP members of Parliament. And I think that Don Davies is already signaling that with the progressive stuff in the budget, they don't take away the dental plan. They keep investing in childcare. That is an investment for the future, by the way. And even adding a bit more money to the school program for kids who, the school lunch program, that help the kids at the bottom rung of the economic ladder. Well, I think that those are things that the NDP doesn't have to vote against. Now, there is a schism right now in the NDP. How many socialists does it take to have a schism? Apparently 7. And so there is a bit of infighting going on right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of them either voted against the budget or just didn't show up to vote on the budget.
Interesting. All right, Tom, we'll be talking plenty more about that in the coming weeks. CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader Tom Mulcair. Good to see you this morning.